and welcome back to Standard 12, Institutional Financial Practices. The purpose of this standard is that if COMTA will be your institutional accreditor, the Commission must also evaluate the stability of the school's finances to ensure that students are protected. The standard also covers tuition and refund policies. So, as noted, there are two main sections to Standard 12. Section A is financial stability, and Section B is student finance and tuition policies. This video will cover an overview of these, but we will get into more detail with the courses, and there's some policy documents that you will also want to note. But essentially for Section A of the standard, financial stability, it is to ensure long-term stability, that the school is adequately financed, and the finances are administered competently and legally. And this is demonstrated through independent reviewed or audited reports, and we'll talk more about that. The second part of the standard covers your policies for student tuition and cancellation refund. These policies must be reasonable, clear, uniformly applied to all students. So this is one of the things that reviewers look at on on-site visits, go through documentation. And any outside funding sources that are not federal financial aid or Title IV related are also included in this standard. So financial stability has three main parts. So Standard 12A, 1 is the financial management system, the bookkeeping system, your policies and procedures themselves. Number 2 is the amount of your financial resources. Now, again, don't think this means that all schools have to be rich. It's just that there is enough for the size and scope of the programs. And general liability insurance is also covered here. So we're going to look at each of these three in a little bit more detail. So overview of 12A1, financial management system. Key components are that there are systems in place that assure the safety and security of the money, the accountability of the books, and that there is effective use of the financial resources available. Written policies and procedures should exist, and any books or accounts that are separate from school related finances must be separate from that. So that's other businesses or personal. Now, I would like to note that oftentimes a clinic or a bookstore is considered related, however, because it's part of the program itself. So Standard 12A2, adequate financial resources are available, and the key components of this is that you are responsible for having resources to maintain the quality program for all currently enrolled students. And then financial reports would demonstrate the financial stability and sound financial practices, and this is demonstrated through independently reviewed or audited financial statements which follow the generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP. Now, your outside accountant will know what this means. The Commission has just recently also allowed independent compilation to be allowed for those schools that have less than a $400,000 gross revenue. So this is a more abbreviated process, but all of these must be done through an independent outside accounting firm or accountant. It's not your internal CPA or your internal books. It is done once a year. You must do it for initial accreditation as well as once a year. And the accountant that you use will know what these things mean. There's a lot more details available in our COMTA Financial Guidelines Policy, which I highly recommend that you print out. It's available in the course as well as on the COMTA website. You could pause the video and get that out now, or at least print it out before you start the details of the course. So Standard 12A3, general liability insurance. Now, professional liability insurance, or kind of malpractice insurance for bodywork, aesthetic work themselves, is covered in Standard 4. Because that's applicable to both programs and institutions, programmatic or institutional accreditation, excuse me. This one is for institutions only because it does have a direct impact on your long-term financial stability of the organization. And the standard simply states that you must have adequate coverage demonstrated. The Commission, though, does not prescribe the limits of any insurance coverage. We leave this to you and your insurer, but you would then demonstrate how what you have is adequate in case there are any questions. The second part of Standard 12 covers student finance and tuition policies. So we're going to go over some of the details on the next two slides here, but there is a policy as well with more details. So essentially all the costs, now that's all fees, everything must be published and fully disclosed, and students must have access to this prior to agreeing to enrollment. Tuition and fees must be charged consistently, and there must be evidence of such in student files, for example. And the language that the standard now uses is that for students admitted under similar circumstances. So, for example, you can have discounts if it would apply to all employees, for example, or a special cohort, or fall enrollments, or something like that. Follow the COMTA cancellation and refund policy. So there is a document, again, it's located in the course. It's also on the COMTA website. A lot of these policies will mirror what you may be doing for your state agencies or what's required by the federal government as well. There may be more policies or an additional state and federal regulations, but they may be similar to this. In addition, you need to ensure that written records of all student transactions are kept. That can either be electronically or on hard copy. They must be on file. Students must receive receipts, for example. And that you are following regulations of any state or federal tuition assistance programs if applicable to your situation. Now this is non-Title IV. So for example, some schools do participate in the GI Bill. They're approved by the VA to be able to accept GI Bill funds. There may be some state grants that you participate in. And those compliance with those regulations are covered in this standard. Title IV is its own standard. So that's covered elsewhere. We've also moved the scholarship section. If you offer scholarships, these must be done in a very clear, fair way on what the selection criteria are, etc. And there are more details in the standard language. So let's go ahead and look at those details. We're going to move on to the course now and look at the lessons. If you have additional questions that have not been answered in the course or in the policy documents, please feel free to contact COMTA staff for more assistance. Thank you very much.